Hey there, YouTube world. Lone Moose here. Sitting back, I've got a lot of projects I'm working on right now. June has been a really challenging month. A lot of health issues, family issues I've been dealing with. Throwing a few legal issues, some work stress. So that's why I haven't been posting a whole lot lately. I've been doing some filming, and now I'm going to try and pull all of these together. And make some interesting videos for you guys. A couple of my friends and co-workers have been asking me to do videos on smoking some brisket and some pulled pork. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of going to be a series, and I don't really know how many releases I'm going to have in this, so it'll be a surprise as we go. I'm going to start it off with, in this video I'll really talk about the rubs and how I do that. And then I'm going to make another video about the Weber Smoky Mountain Series smoker, or what we call the Weber Bullet, and a little process called the Minion method. And that's a method of getting your charcoal started and using your wood and such. So that'll be a separate video. Then I'll start in. There'll be one on the preparation of the brisket and marinating it, then the actual smoking process, and probably the last one on the brisket will be what I do with it once it's done. Pulled pork will be pretty similar. Again, it will be the first part of the video on prepping it, the rub, and getting the smoker ready, and I'll also be using the Weber bullet on that one as well. I found that bullet, I've had mine for probably 12-13 years, and they're indestructible, high quality, they never let me down. So I'll be kind of pushing those as we go. Again, I have no sponsorship agreements with anyone. Everything I do is out of my pocket, out of my experience. So that's all it really boils down to. And then the last part of that video will be the actual pulling of the pork, and that's an interesting thing. So hopefully as July starts to roll around, I can pull all of these together and give you guys some interesting videos. But first I want to talk about marinades, rubs, and such. And if you go to your local grocery store, or barbecue supply, or places that carry smoking wood and chip, in the spice section, you're going to find all different kinds of brisket rubs and liquid marinades. And like I've said before, it really just depends on your personal taste. What do you like? What does your family, your friends like? Don't worry about what some other expert says, because that doesn't matter. You're cooking, you're smoking for your circle of friends and family. Back in the early days, and I've been doing brisket, my God, since probably the mid-80s. But at that point, I wasn't really kind of smoking it. It was more of a slow grilling process. And I've evolved over the years. When I lived in Utah, I did barbecue competitions. I did 2 of those with a team we put together at the VA regional office where I worked at that time. Just doing your first barbecue competition is like going from kindergarten to grad school in one weekend. You learn a lot. And one of the things I learned about this Weber bullet is just how reliable and how much of a workhorse it is. I love them to death. I personally don't use liquid marinade anymore. I don't inject the briskets. I use dry rubs, and I'm going to read you my dry rub recipe here in a minute, and it'll be posted down in the comments. And it works for me. Again, modify it to meet your taste. Now, one of the things that's kind of held up production of these kind of videos, because of the COVID era and a lot of meat packing plants are shut down, is the absolute outrageous prices of brisket. In fact, Carl, one of my subscribers and an old friend of mine up in the DC area, asked me about that. And when I first started looking for briskets, the cheapest one I found at our local HEB was just under $90. And this is a 13-pound brisket. And at Costco, it was $128. Well, that's out of the question. But recently, one of our little local Hill Country grocery store chains, Lowe's Groceries, had briskets, the big full slab briskets, on sale for $1.99 a pound. Okay, there's my opening. So I actually bought 3 of them. I'm going to be doing one up in one of these videos, and the other 2 are going in the freezer for later, because I don't expect this COVID crisis, the food crisis, to get any better anytime soon. In fact, I'm starting to see runs on the stores again. The toilet paper, paper towel shelves are empty. The cleaning supply shelves are empty because the rates are starting to spike in places like here in Texas, Florida, Arizona. So not a good situation. But anyway, back to the dry rubs. And you can buy store-bought dry rubs. There's Brisket rubs. I think Fiesta makes them. There's several companies that do, and that's fine. You know, if that works for you. It doesn't work for me personally because they're a little too spicy, a little too hot for my taste. A lot of these recipes will use chili powder, and even when I make chili, I can't use chili powder in it per se because my guts just don't tolerate it. So I use other types of powders and such, or chilies, or natural means of providing a little bit of heat. But anyway, my basic rub, and apologize if I'm not looking directly in the camera, but like I said, I want to read it and get it exactly right for you, is 1½ cups of kosher salt, 3/4 cup of ground black pepper, and I use other 2 tablespoons of ground clove, 2 tablespoons of ground nutmeg, a 1/2 cup of smoked paprika, 3 tablespoons of sage, 3 tablespoons of ground cumin, a 1/4 cup of paprika, and I personally prefer the smoked paprika, but unfortunately, as I was getting ready to prepare and make this rub up, all I could find at the store, and because of the COVID, I don't like to go store to store to store, was just regular paprika, so it works just fine. 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1½ cups of Turbanado sugar. Now you can use regular brown sugar if you like. I've just been using the Turbanado sugar for probably the last 25 years. I get great results from it. It's more coarse, it's not as refined, so there's not as many chemical processes and such. You're getting more pure cane sugar really in it. And then for heat, I use 1 tablespoon of hatch chili powder. Now I can get that down here in Texas at our HEB stores. You could probably look on the Hatch Chili store online, and I'll put a link to that in my below section as well, and order it from there. And I also had that link in some of my other videos that I've posted recently. So I'll put that in for you. If you can't get the Hatch, if you can tolerate regular chili powder, go for it. Or if you want to use cayenne, or any of those other kind of chilies, or if you don't want any heat in it at all, leave it out. Remember, you're cooking for what you and your family want, you and your friends. Barbecuing, smoking is a great pastime. It is very labor intensive. If you don't think it is, you need to watch this whole series, because right now, when I make my video on prepping, and you get the big full slab briskets, and I usually, when I do it, would buy the trimmed brisket, so it's already got most of the decal fat and such removed. But what I wasn't available to get it, not at this price, so I'll be doing a video on trimming it. There's a lot of fat that I remove. You got to leave some of the fat on in brisket, because as it smokes, the fat drips down. But a full thickness, big slab of brisket, you're looking at 12 to 14 hours of smoking time, 24 to 48 hours of marinating or cure time. Once you do your rub down or your liquid or your injection, whatever you want to do, then you need to marinate it in the refrigerator for at least 24 hours before you start it. And then, like I said, you're looking at 12 plus hours. A trimmed brisket you can do in 7 or 8. So you're looking at quite an investment of time, but if you're a lover of brisket, it is well worth it. So do me a favor, if you like this, hit the like and subscribe. If there's other things you'd like to see done, please hit that down in the comments, and I'll respond as quickly as I can. This is something I do. I've been doing it for decades. My adult kids and ex-step kids all love this stuff. I've had cooked it brisket for organizational events, both when I was in the Army and in the VA, in some of the regional offices. It's what I do because I enjoy doing it for other people. I don't do it to make money. I don't do the competitions anymore. I just do it for the fun and love of doing it. So please stay tuned for more videos. It'll probably end up like 7 or 8 in the whole series. I hope you enjoy this, and please, like I said, hit the like and subscribe. The recipe is down below. Please feel free to pirate it, use it for your own, modify it as you like. If you think it's too much salt or too much sugar or whatever, go for it. Make your changes. Do what you want.